Everyone. So we're going to be working on our first 3D model today, and I want to kind of go over with you some of the basics of 3D modeling and talk to you and just kind of walk you through the process. So for this project, we're going to be all working on the same 3D model. I'm going to be providing you with images to work with, and you guys will be importing these images into Maya as image planes, and we will be modeling this object together. Okay, so if you take a look on Blackboard, you should see a folder or a zip folder or something that says Screwdriver Images. Make sure you download those and put them into a project folder, which we're going to make right now, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So to get started, we're going to go and open up Maya. We will go ahead and go over to File, Project Window, and this project window is going to allow us to create a folder that is going to have a series of folders inside of it. These series of folders inside of your project folder are really important because the project folder hosts your scenes folder, which is where your Maya projects, the actual project file is going to sit, and that project file is going to be referencing in images from the images folder. If we were animating, we might need audio, and so that audio would be coming from the sounds folder. If we were rendering out, say, a play blast, it might be put into the movies folder. And then if we have any autosaves, the autosaves we put into the autosave folder. So it's really important for us to set up this project folder. And it's not just for one, it's not just like a project folder for the class. This project folder is going to be for each individual project that you create. So this particular project for the screwdriver, it's going to be a project folder for that. The next model you're going to make, you're going to have a project folder for that assignment. And then the next assignment's going to be its own project folder, and so on and so forth. Okay? So understanding that this is important and that you need to set up a project folder each and every time you're creating a new project, essentially, in Maya, it's going to be very, very important. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click New. I'm going to name it Screwdriver Model. I'm going to give it a location, and for me that location is going to be, let's see, it's going to be in my OneDrive folder. It can be anywhere for you guys. Put in my class folders. I have a lot of class folders, and then I'm going to put the folder in this location right here. Okay. Alright, so it's going to be called Screwdriver Model, and it's going to be located in my 2025, 2026 class folders. Click Accept. And so now we should have a Screwdriver Model folder in the location that you set it to. Okay. Now, you'll see if you look in here, inside of that folder is a bunch of different folders, like I mentioned before. These are all important because they get referenced into the Maya project folder that you are you're working in, the Maya project file. Okay. So, just heads up, you want to keep this stuff organized, so make sure you save your Maya project file into the scenes folder inside of the Maya project folder. And the way that we're going to do that is go to File, Save Scene, and it should automatically go to your project folder, Scenes folder. Okay? And I'm going to call this one Screwdriver1. What I do is I save incrementally, meaning that each save I do, I give it another name. So I have different versions. I have incremental versions. One thing you definitely don't want to do is stack saves on the same file, because you run the risk of corrupting the file, and if you lose that one file, then you kind of sort of put all your eggs in one basket. Not a good thing, so we definitely don't want to do that. Okay. So in the previous video, we talked about how to navigate Maya. We can use the Alt, left, middle, and right mouse buttons to move around. So I want to make sure that we can do that. I want to go ahead and talk to you about different views inside of Maya. So if I hit the space bar, it's going to allow me to have 4 different views. One is my perspective view, this guy right here, and then 3 are my orthographic views. Orthographic mean that they are looking directly down an axis. So specifically this one is the top view, it's looking down the y-axis. This one's the front, it's looking down the z-axis, and this one is the side, it's looking down the x-axis. Okay? If you want to go into one of these views, put your mouse over that view, hit the space bar, and you can jump into that view. Hit space bar again, jump out, put your mouse over the perspective view, jump in. Okay? The key, or the button to press for your quad view, is going to be over here. And you can click on this, and it'll allow you to go back to your quad view. Press on the one above, that goes back to your perspective view. Okay? You can also do a dual view layout if you want to have 2 cameras, so like a perspective view or a orthographic view. But you're not limited to what Maya has given you here. You can actually go under the panel for each of these viewports and change the camera that you're looking at. So if I just want 2 perspective views, I can give myself 2 perspective views. Now this is the same camera that I'm looking at. If you wanted to set up like 2 different cameras, you could do that. If I go to perspective, under panels, perspective, and new, now I have a perspective 1 and then just a perspective. So it's actually like 2 cameras set up here. Okay? So kind of cool. And then I can jump in between these. If I want to go back to my quad view, I can jump out and go back and kind of just navigate that way. Okay? So this is our options here for changing our view and looking around and seeing different things within our scene. Okay? Right below there is going to be the outliner. If I click on that, it's going to show me the outliner menu. The outliner for Maya is going to be a window that essentially allows us to see almost everything that's in your scene. So I can see all the cameras that I have, any models, rigs, characters, anything that's in the scene, I can see in the outliner right in here. Okay? So just be aware that if you're looking for something, I go into the outliner quite a bit when I'm looking for stuff. I can close the outliner by clicking on that button, and it closes it. Go back over to my perspective view. Alright, so now what I want to do is go ahead and set up my orthographic views for the screwdriver. So what I have here are these different pictures of the screwdriver. Let's see, where did I put that? Let's grab those images real quick. Okay, so the views that I have are pretty much orthographic views. I tried to take these as head-on as I could. So I have a top, side, front, back view. I have some 3/4 views, different angles. I even held it in a couple of shots to try to get some better angles on the screwdriver. Now the screwdriver itself there's nothing really special about it. It's just a little yellow screwdriver. I think it came with a display cabinet that I bought from Amazon, but it's simple enough. I think it's going to be useful for you guys. Okay, so some things that we're going to be talking about is going to be extruding shapes, moving vertexes and faces to create new shapes, and then putting multiple pieces together inside of this. So let's go ahead and jump into, let's do a top view. And I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And we're going to be in that screwdriver model source images folder. And so what I would like to do is grab the images that are sitting in that screwdriver pics folder that I have, and I'm going to go into the source images folder. Make a new folder called reference images or ref images, and paste all of those images in there. So I'm going to go in there, and so this is my top view, so I need a top view of the screwdriver, and that actually works really well. So I'm going to go and grab that. I want to use that. Alright, so that's going to be my top view. I'm going to do a front view. That's mostly a front view. It's going to give us an idea of the shape. And then I'm going to do a side view. Go back again. I'm jumping over to my quad view. I'm going to jump back into my side view right here. I'm going to go to View and Image Plane, Import Image. Reference image. And let's look at the views that I have. And this is a pretty radially symmetrical screwdriver, so pretty much like every view is pretty much the same, but that's pretty much it. Okay, so I personally like to model my objects either facing up the y-axis or facing down the z-axis. So that means either facing forward, so it's going to be, so if you look right here, you'll see this little doohickey right here. Maybe you can see it a little bit better right there. This has a Y, Z, and an X. And down the Z-axis is basically like facing forward. Y is up, X is to the side, okay? And for me, I find it a little bit easier when I'm animating to have an object that comes in already ready to go if it's facing down one of these axes. So you don't usually want to model things that are going to be just kind of hooked off to the side or like kind of like a 30-degree angle or something like that. You want to generally have them kind of facing more or less the same angle every time. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and rotate this image, and I just grab the image plane. I just use my rotate tool right here, and I'm looking at my channel box. Remember we talked about that last video? And if you're going to turn something 90 degrees or turn it, one turn to the right, you want to make sure you rotate that a full 90. Now this is going negative 90, so I'm just going to square that up at negative 90. And then this one right here, I'm going to rotate that one all the way around. That's going to be about 180 degrees, or that's negative 92, so we'll do that one. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now notice the pictures don't line up perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my scale tool, and I'm just going to universally scale. Let's do this picture. They didn't take the pictures from the same exact distance for every single one. And then I'm going to move this right down the middle, just a little bit like that. So we're pretty close. And then this one right here is not, it's not quite, I didn't get right in the front, but you'll get the idea. So I can move it. So I can go ahead and hit the scale tool again. bring that up and go up a little bit like that. And the reason why I'm kind of trying to pay attention to this is just really because of proportions. So as I'm modeling, I like to really make sure that my proportions are accurate. Okay, so now that all of that's centered, I'm going to move this all the way back. I'll move this all the way over here and move this all the way down. So what I'm doing is I'm clearing out a center space for me to model my object. Okay. And you probably wonder, well, Professor Bryson, why'd you spend all the time just centering these all together? The reason why is because I want these to be proportionally the same. So when I model something to a height here and to a width here, I want them to be exactly the same as they are on this front view. Now, these are human taken photographs. I'm not perfect. So we have an understanding that you kind of have to go with like one picture over the other just a little bit more. But it works. It functionally works. Okay. So let's talk about creating objects. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what, we'll stop the video here. So get to this point, and then you can take the next video and we'll go and start our modeling. Okay. Let's go ahead and save this before we get any further. Make sure you save it down to your scenes folder, and then we'll pick up on the next video.